Coming up in this episode of Rebel Report, the Rebels played their first game of the season against San Diego State. Find out how they played against the Aztecs.
Plus, there will be fans in the stands to watch our Rebels take on UNR in the Halloween matchup. We will look ahead to the UNR-UNLV rivalry in the rundown.
And later, Derek Carr and the Raiders took on Tom Brady and the Bucs at home this past weekend. We will take a look at how the game turned out.
Welcome to Studio B on the campus of UNLV. This is the Rebel Report. I'm Kenny Jemison.
I'm Andre Paraiso. Before we dive into the local sports news of the week, we want to tell you what we're all about and what we hope to give you watching at home.
Every week for half an hour, we will cover UNLV athletics, the games, the events, the athletes, and the coaches.
But we're also here to cover all of the major sporting events happening in Southern Nevada and tell stories you won't see anywhere else.
Let's begin with our top story. UNLV took on SDSU last Saturday. Rebel Report's Ashley Dickinson has the recap of the Rebels' first game.
Marcus Arroyo's first game as head coach is officially in the books. It was a tough start for UNLV as the Aztecs outplayed them in the first half. With the quarterback position to be filled at the end of the season, all three quarterbacks played in the game. Kenyon Oblad started and was sacked twice. Justin Rogers was unable to make complete passes, and then it was Max Gilliam who was able to get some action for the Rebels. One key word from the first game of the season: patience. It is going to be a long season as Coach Arroyo installs a new system on offense and defense. The team only had 2 scrimmages prior to the opening game and just a few practices in pads. They have 3 promising players at the QB position, and it will be fun to see who gets the title. Coach Arroyo's pedigree in building Oregon's high-powered offense resulted in quality quarterbacks entering the NFL. However, the Rebels lost to the Aztecs 34-6. They face in-state rival Nevada on Halloween at Allegiant Stadium. Kickoff is at 7:30.
Real good feedback from our guys in regards to kind of what we can see in the short time we've been together. We've started to try to plant some seeds in our identity and our principles and the way we communicate. And now we move on to game week and we start trying to focus as fast as we can on another opponent, all the while still trying to really lay the groundwork for what we're trying to do in a new program. So a challenging time, but it's been a lot of fun.
UNLV recently announced a partnership with Hear Me Cheer, an app that collects live fan noise and streams it into the sporting events. The noise will be heard in the stadium and on the broadcast starting on Saturday when the Rebels battle for the cannon with UNR.
UNLV recently created a plan for 2,000 fans allowed in the stands for the first 2 games at Allegiant Stadium. The plan was approved last Friday by the Southern Nevada Health District and Nevada's Department of Business and Industry. Game attendees must be screened upon entry, wear face coverings, maintain social distance, and follow other health safety protocols. After the first 2 games, a new plan will be submitted.
If you can't physically make it to the game, don't worry. Last week, UNLV also announced the launch of the UNLV Football Fan Cutout Program. The cutouts start at $79 each, and UNLV students can buy them for a discounted price of $49. The amount of each purchase will count as a scholarship gift to the Rebels Athletic Fund's Momentum Fund campaign.
The Rebels take on in-state rival UNR in what should be an entertaining football matchup. This will also be the 46th meeting between both teams. But before the big game starts, here's a closer look at this historic rivalry between both teams. The Battle of the Fremont Cannon got its name from a failed prank in 1966. Student body president Tom Brady of the formerly known Nevada Southern University tried to steal a cannon from Reno's campus but failed. But University of Nevada Reno leaders had a sense of humor about it and created the now traditional prize that is the Fremont Cannon. According to the UNLV website, the cannon itself is a replica of the cannon used by American explorer John C. Fremont. The Fremont Cannon is the heaviest and most expensive trophy in college football. It weighs about 545 pounds and cost $10,000 to build. The cannon would first be handed to UNLV in 1970, even though UNR won the first ever meeting. The Fremont Cannon was also a donation from the Nevada Mines Division of the Kennecott Copper Corps. This is the most highly anticipated game this season for UNLV. All 200 student tickets were sold out in just 5 minutes, according to UNLV Athletics. This game is also a historic one because both teams will be playing on Nevada Day for the first time in the 46 meetings between both teams.
The Las Vegas Raiders returned home last Sunday to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rebel Report's Matt Atencio has the recap of the action.
The Las Vegas Raiders faced off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last Sunday in their Week 7 matchup. The Raiders' depth was tested in this game, with both Jonathan Abram and Trent Brown on the COVID-19 list for the game, and the rest of the starting offensive line not practicing after being exposed to COVID as well.
I want to say how proud I am of that offensive line. Not just the starters, but the backups also, for the week they had.
We hop into the first quarter. After the Bucs 3 and out, Derek Carr capped off the Raiders' drive with this touchdown pass to Nelson Aguilar. The Bucs answered right back with a QB sneak from Tom Brady to even the score at 7. Following a Raiders field goal, Tom Brady connected with Rob Gronkowski to give the Bucs a 14-10 lead. The Buccaneers connected on the next drive for a touchdown as well, after Tom Brady found Scotty Miller with 17 seconds to play in the half. After 2 costly penalties by the Bucs defense, Carr, looking deep, connects with Aguilar once again for a huge 44-yard gain. 2 plays later, Carr connected with Darren Waller in the end zone to cut the deficit to 1 score. The Raiders looked poised on their next drive to even the score, but had to settle for a field goal. Things for the Silver and Black went south from this point. First, the Bucs scored on their next drive to take an 11-point lead. On the next drive, Carr's pass was tipped and intercepted by Antoine Winfield, and the Bucs made them pay with this rush from Ronald Jones. The next drive ended with a turnover on downs, and the Bucs made them pay once again. Tom Brady connected with Tyler Johnson for his 4th passing touchdown on the day. The score would hold up, and the Raiders fell to the Buccaneers, 45-20. The Las Vegas Raiders now fall to 1-2 at Allegiant Stadium. They will not have a chance to move to a 500 record for the next 2 weeks. They face the Browns in Cleveland next week, and the Chargers in Los Angeles the week after. Both road games will prove a tall challenge, and the Raiders will need to step up if they wish to remain in the playoff hunt. Be sure to follow our social media and our website for the latest updates. Reporting for Rebel Report, I'm Matt Atencio.
Coming up after the break, I will sit down with Danny Smythe and take a closer look at the upcoming UNLV-UNR game.
And don't forget to check out our weekly podcast on Spotify. Every week, we break down all the big sports happening in Las Vegas, including the Rebels, Raiders, Golden Knights, and much more.
That's it for today's class. Your assignment for tonight is to watch Rebel Report.
What's Rebel Report?
Ever heard about the best sports news program in Nevada?
Nah.
They cover everything sports in Southern Nevada.
I thought everything was canceled.
Nah, the Mountain West is bringing back football, baby, and UNR's got a scary matchup against the Rebels at the new Allegiant Stadium.
Didn't you guys throw down last year?
Yeah, there was a fight last year, but you know what? We won the fight, and we smacked them.
We gotta get revenge this year then. I really want to see what you guys have to say about it on Rebel Report.
Yeah, you're gonna want to tune into this one.
What about other Las Vegas sports?
We got you covered on every sport, from the Raiders to MMA to the Aces, the Golden Knights, boxing, you name it, we got you covered.
If I miss the show and it airs on Channel 2?
Hey, if you miss the show, don't worry about it. All of our shows are going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook, so you can watch it anytime, anywhere. Welcome back to the Rebel Report, and this is the rundown. I'm joined today by Danny Smythe to talk about the biggest game of the year, the battle for the Fremont Cannon. Hi, Danny. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. So we just witnessed UNLV's first game. They played against San Diego State. A horrible game, I guess, to say for the least, or to say for the most. They lost 30-46. It wasn't their best performance, I just want to get your take on what you thought about the game and, yeah, just your thoughts about it.
They started off a little rough. It's kind of hard to gain momentum when you play quarterback by committee. I would have preferred that they start off with a quarterback getting at least a full quarter, maybe even a full half before they went to another one, just to see if that worked, because it's very hard to try and gain any momentum if you're just playing series by series. Outside of that, the run game, that was probably the toughest part of the game for the Rebels. They allowed almost 300 rushing yards, and coming from last year where they only averaged, I think they allowed 170. It was a lot more than last year. So I think those were the biggest problems.
And you brought up the quarterback committee situation. They played 3 quarterbacks mostly throughout like that first half, mostly in the entire game in general. Do you think that's a good strategy for the first game of the season, or like do you just want to see one guy at the quarterback position, and then if that doesn't work out, go back to your backup quarterback?
Yeah, I would have liked to see them stick with one quarterback, get him a couple drives, like I said, maybe a full quarter, maybe even a full half before you move on to see if another quarterback could have given you a little bit more. As we saw in the second half, when they decided to stick with Gilliam, they were able to score, they were able to put some drives together, and they looked really good at the start of the second half.
Right. So with that game being put aside, what can the Rebels do heading into this big in-state rivalry game against Reno? And we all know Reno has a top peak offense in the Mountain West, one of the best in the conference. So what could the Rebels do to better themselves from SDSU to the Battle of the Fremont Canyon?
For one, I think their offensive line. Against San Diego State, they allowed 5 sacks. I think they can definitely do better. I fully believe that they can do better, and I'm sure they will this week because, like you said, they're playing for the Fremont Canyon against in-state rival UNR, and we definitely don't want to see the Rebels lose to the Wolfpack. Outside of that, I think they really need to focus on the defensive passing game. Reno's quarterback last week threw for over 400 yards. So that's going to be something that they're going to be looking to do again this week, and the Rebels need to focus on that and be able to shut that down.
Right. And we saw that UNR had a tough battle against Wyoming, right? They were up like 14-7 in the first half, and then Wyoming came back during the second half. What do you expect? We talk about UNLV, but what do you expect out of UNR? What can we expect out of them?
I think UNR is going to look at the UNLV game and see those kind of holes in the Rebels' offensive line, and they're going to try and attack that, pressure the quarterback a lot. I think UNLV is going to have to get a lot of quick passes and try and gain a lot of yards after the catch instead of going for big plays. And then on the offensive side, I think Reno is, again, going to try and take that passing attack. They're gonna throw a lot of, I saw a lot of quick middle passes, about 7-8 yards, and then they can stretch them for 10 to 15. So I think that's what they're gonna try and do, and just pick apart that secondary. So that's something that the Rebels, they're gonna have to look at.
Right, and it's only the second game. That's the second game this season. We only got one game to look at Coach Arroyo. But just based off that one game, do you see a difference between Arroyo's football style of coaching as opposed to Tony Sanchez's?
Right now, it's kind of hard to tell. I think we need at least 1, if not 2 more games. Going into this Reno game, we know that Gilliam's going to be the starter. So we know that they're not doing quarterback by committee to start it off. So he'll be able to put back-to-back-to-back drives together and get momentum going. And I think we're going to see the offense start a lot faster than it did last week. But to compare them, I think it's a little early for that. I think we might have to wait at least until after this game, maybe even after next week's game.
Right. Is there And like you said, right? I mean, it's too early to know whether Coach. I mean, this is Coach Arroyo's first game against Reno, and yeah, I mean, it's like you said, right? The offensive line has to step up. We saw in the SDSU game, the Rebels couldn't get the run game going, but SDSU can. So, and with that, does the defense have to improve just as much as the offense?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can't let the Wolfpack get their running game strong going, or let the Wolfpack's quarterback get into rhythm like he was last week with passing, because as we saw, he shredded Wyoming for over 400 yards. So that's definitely where their focus should be.
Right on. All right, so that's the Rebel Report for today. The game will be at 7:30, and the game will be broadcasted on Fox Sports 1. Coming up next, Kenny Jemison has an inside look at the Southwest Off-Road Championship race. Plus, we will update you on the World Series.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Desert racing in the Southwest has come to an end after a crazy year due to COVID-19. Let's take a closer look at how the final race went. I'm in Parker, Arizona, where this weekend the Blue Water Desert Challenge rounded out the Best in the Desert season, and a new champion has been crowned. Kevin Thompson and Harley Lettner with the number 70 Concrete Motorsports trick truck managed to run clean all day, finishing out the weekend second overall. This was enough to bring home the Best in the Desert Championship in this year's shortened COVID-19 championship. Justin Lofton in the number 41 Yokohama Tire Fox trick truck was the fastest all weekend, winning the overall race by almost 5 minutes. I caught up with Las Vegas local Kit Stokes after the race, who brought home his number 40 Hollywood Construction trick truck in 11th place overall.
You know, we did pretty good. I mean, considering this is our third race in the truck period, and you know, we're still working the kinks out after basically resurrecting this thing.
The talk of the weekend, though, comes from a big crash at the start of Saturday's trick truck race, where Jason Voss lost control and his truck went flying. Both Voss and his co-driver Don Powers sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Voss took the brunt of the impact and had head trauma, a broken arm, and a few other injuries, but is said to be in good spirits. Best in the Desert Racing will return in January with an 8-race year-long schedule starting right here in Parker with the Blue Water Resorts Parker 425. Reporting for Rebel Report, I'm Kenny Jemison.
The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays wrapped up the 2020 World Series this week after Game 6 on Tuesday. Randy Arozarena got the offense started for Tampa Bay with the first inning home run, his third of the World Series. The Rays starting pitcher Blake Snell was lights out. He allowed 2 hits and struck out 9 over 5 1/3 innings. Despite being nearly unhittable, he was pulled after allowing a hit in the top of the 6th inning. In comes Nick Anderson. He would throw a wild pitch, allowing the Dodgers to score the tying run. On the very next pitch, Series MVP Corey Seager hits a grounder to first, allowing Mookie Betts to score from the third for the game-winning run. After the game, Clayton Kershaw talked about finally breaking through and getting a title.
There's definitely a sense of relief. You know, I think that we did it, and we've been the best team the whole year. We've been the best team before, too, and haven't won. So to get to be the best team throughout the whole year, make it through this crazy playoff run, and to win the World Series is a pretty special accomplishment. And I'm not going to take that for granted for sure.
This is the Dodgers' 7th World Series title as a franchise and the first title in 32 years. Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Justin Gaethje at UFC 254 last Saturday. This was Khabib's first fight from his father's passing away from COVID-19. He announced after the fight that he would be retiring due to his father not being by his side. He said his mother did not want him to fight, and he promised her that this would be his last fight. His triangle choke submission was just the 3rd ever in UFC title history. He goes down as one of the greatest fighters in history, finishing his career 29-0.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at a pop-up parade promoting the use of the COVID-19 contact trace app. Also, we will show you some of the best plays of the week and eat some pizza.
I am a nurse,
a firefighter,
a college student,
a mother, and I am an American soldier.
I will always be ready
for every storm
and disaster that threatens my community.
I will always be there to protect my neighbors,
my family,
and my country.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
Visit nationalguard.com to learn more about part-time service.
It doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you say it often. Praise your child at least 4 times for every time you correct them, and you'll be on your way to raising a confident, caring kid. 4-to-1 Praise is just one of the many parenting tools from the experts at Boys Town. Visit boystown.org/praise to receive your 10 Ways to Praise magnet. It's a great reminder to keep it positive and that helpful parenting advice is just a click away.
Everyone loves pizza, but who has the best? Rebel Report's Ashley Dickinson takes a taste at one of the local pizza joints.
Yeah. One bite, we all know the rules. What's the name of this place, Kenny?
Cugino's.
Credino's.
No. Cugino's.
Cugino's.
Italian
cuisine. This pizza is looking mighty nice. The crust is very crunchy. I'm loving it. Not too much tomato sauce. It's a little greasy, but you know what? It's all right. The pepperoni looks perfect. So we all know the rule. One bite. I love the pizzas that you got a little finger. Oh, it's all the cheese. Oh my God, Kenny. Not too much tomato sauce and not overpowering with the cheese. Pepperoni is just the right crunch. Well, we all know the rule. Gotta eat the crust. It's the ultimate test. Whoa. Wow. The grease is just leaking, but I'm starting to realize that's when you know it's a good pizza. Kenny, I don't think I've ever done this before, but I gotta give it a 9.5 out of 10.
The Nevada COVID-19 Task Force kicked off a statewide parade on Wednesday. The parade featured performances from performers, celebrities, entertainers, and local businesses. They started the parade with performances at the Welcome to Las Vegas sign and ended on the field of Allegiant Stadium.
That will do it for this episode of Rebel Report.
We'll leave you with some of the top plays of the week. Have a good weekend.
Gillum, end zone caught. Touchdown, Rebels. UNLV into the end zone for the first time.
Mark with 6 different receivers, and this time he lofts one and is picked off at the goal line. That's Buda Baker. Buda Baker out in front. Can Metcalf track him down? Can he chase him down? And he does to save a touchdown.
The right leg injury. Lofting it up there. What a reach by Aguilar for the...
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. A Rose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, game 4 hero.